It's Kevin McCullough on AM 970, The Answer.
You're listening to Kevin McCullough Radio. Thank you for being with us. We've got a very busy plate for you today. It's Monday, brand new week, and lots to get to.
Kevin McCullough, and here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Obliterating confusion.
Amplifying truth.
And pursuing clarity.
Kevin McCullough, now.
All right, coming up, what is going down with the tax reform argument in Washington, D.C.? We will debate that as we go forward with the normal Monday broadcast. Dr. Gina Loudon joining us. Also, what's the update in Puerto Rico? We'll ask Todd Chapman. And David Fisher's here with a Money Monday.
Kevin McCullough.
Something interesting is happening with this.
Kevin McCullough, let me start with you.
I found this thing at townhall.com by Kevin McCullough.
The big dog
has come out of nowhere.
Kevin McCullough.
I just want to help people think.
Nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
And he is playing the role as well as anybody could.
Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
The odds are he's right.
It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
I think he should step aside.
Do you believe these allegations to be true?
I believe the women, yeah.
All right, that's Mitch McConnell today, and he was pretty blunt about it. This, as we have some breaking news on the Judge Roy Moore issue, because another woman has now come forward. Earlier today here in New York City, she held a press conference, and her story, look, there's some interesting things about the Roy Moore allegations as they stand on their own merit. And my friend Mary Catherine Ham was on Inside Sources, Inside Politics, whatever that is, on CNN over the weekend. And she brought out the case that when you have women that are on the record, that those accusations tend to be more credible. They're willing to put their name and face out there. They're willing to say, this is what happened to me. A lot of people are asking, well, why did it take so long for you to come forward, et cetera? This isn't the first time Roy Moore has competed in a statewide race. But nonetheless, that doesn't change the fact that there are, now 5 women that have stepped up and said they are on the record that Roy Moore made inappropriate advances to them at young ages. Now, I also know that there are some facts here that the press is shading into one direction. So I'm having a tough struggle with the veracity of this story on the basis of what like Shepard Smith on Fox News, blatantly misleading people today in saying that he sexually assaulted a minor. And that's this new woman that has come forward. Now, I'm not saying that the account that the woman told isn't true. I don't know if it's true. If it is true, the only two people that would know if it's true is Roy Moore and herself. Because like in the case of the 14-year-old that said what happened last week, that, again, they were the only two that were there, according to these women's versions of the story. Now, the other 3 women, I just want to point out, the other 3 women that the Washington Post put in its original story said that they did kiss him, but emphatically denied that there was any sexual contact, and they were all of the age of consent to do so. Doesn't make it right, and if you think that 32-year-olds getting groovy with 16-year-olds is okay, well, I have a problem with you. But I do believe that if they are of the age of consent, they were all 16 or older, which is the age of consent in the state. You're not a pedophile if you have sexual interactions with a person that is above the age of consent. So if they had that, then those accounts of him kissing those girls and whatever led to those kissing times, that's not really relevant to the discussion of what should be the bigger issue, which is the claims of the 14-year-olds who said she was 14-year-old when it happened, and this woman who came forward today, with the exception of this. Shep Smith comes on as he's breaking the news, and he says, well, he sexually assaulted another minor. He said she may have been 15 or 16 when it happened. Well, that's a big difference. 15 is a minor. 16 is the age of consent. Now, what happened? He said that he sexually assaulted her, I guess. And I didn't hear the entire statement by the woman, but if her series of events is true, drove around to the back of the restaurant, tried to kiss her. That did not go down. She ended up getting out of the car, walking around to the front of the restaurant, getting in her boyfriend's car, and not telling her boyfriend. So, just a grain of salt, people. Where is the evidence of what has been done and what should be naturally thought about this? Well, I'm struggling with that because I think that women that go on the record are courageous, and I think that they should go on the record. I also know that since that period of time when he was in his early 30s till now, there doesn't appear to have been any person that has claimed impropriety in any way over the course of his life. Now, if these two girls' stories are true, if even one of them's true, then I think he is disqualified. But to date, Judge Moore is saying they are absolutely false, they did not happen, and I'm going to sue the Washington Post. Now, I just want to point out, if you're innocent in Judge Moore's case, if this is a case of made-up stories politically motivated by other people that are paying these women or whatever, whatever the cause may be, if that is the case, and that's a big if, but if they are on the take, and if he is innocent, the way you respond to it is you fight it tooth and nail. You say, this is slander against me. These things never happened, which is exactly what he's saying. To add one more little spicy, pepper to the mix here, Gloria Allred is the attorney representing the woman who came forward today. And you can just read into that whatever you want to. But Gloria Allred is a ambulance chaser of notorious infamy. So there's just a lot of questions that I still have about it. And what I would like to know, what I would like to have to be able to decide for myself, is some sort of independent verification. Is there evidence that exists that Roy Moore knew that 14-year-old girl? Because he didn't deny that it didn't happen. He denied that they ever knew each other. So if you have an eyewitness, for example, and I'm helping the accuser here, if you have an eyewitness that knew that you guys knew each other and could come forward and say, well, I saw them here before. I saw them at the courthouse on the day of the scenario in question. If that's the case, then come forward. Present the evidence and let the American people decide as it is. Now, it's interesting to watch what's happening in Alabama as opposed to what's happening everywhere else, because everywhere else, including Mitch McConnell, as we play at the top of this show, everybody is totally disbelieving Moore and saying he's a perv. He's just like all these other people that came out of Hollywood. We're dumping him. The flip side of that is in Alabama, where Alabama is doing what they are doing, having this election to replace Jeff Sessions. The people that support Moore, the polling numbers barely moved, if at all. And that's because the political left has gone on pretty vehement, nasty attacks with Moore in the past, and there's not really much that they haven't seen. This is commonplace. Judge Roy Moore has encountered controversy as long as he's been in public life for things that the voters of Alabama stand up for: God, country, Ten Commandments, etc. So what are you saying, Kev? Well, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm not saying that the entire narrative of him being a single guy in his early 30s and maybe kissing some of these women when they were, 16, 17, 18 years of age couldn't possibly be true. That seems to be entirely plausible to me. He's even said it's plausible that when he went out with a couple of them, and one of them said it last week, she said, my mom thought I would land the best husband in all of Alabama if I married Judge Roy Moore. So that woman's mom knew that they spent time together, and he said, I asked the mom's permission before taking out girls that were of that age, et cetera, et cetera. So the three that said it was just kissing and they were all of age, that's kind of in their own category. I don't even count them as like real problems. But for the 14-year-old who says that he invited her to his house and they did things specifically in private, and this woman that came forward today that claims that there was an assault that took place in the car, we need facts. Because right now it's what he said and what they said, and we need independent verification of something. If Roy Moore says, I didn't know either one of them, and either one of them have one or two people that say, well, yeah, he knew her. They were hanging out. That would be the death knell. He's fighting this, by the way, the same way that someone who's innocent fights it, which is to say, I didn't do it, and I'll take you to court to prove it. More to come. We'll see. Talking tax reform next. Gina Loudon's with me. Stay with us.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
It's a real rough ride in New Jersey this evening. On the eastbound side of Route 4, we're jammed up from Forest Avenue in Paramus right up to Grand Avenue in Englewood. There's a big accident involving a flipped-over vehicle, and only that right lane is getting by. Westbound jammed up off the GW Bridge out towards the accident scene, but all westbound lanes are open. Then just some volume through Paramus on your way towards Route 17. If you're looking for an alternative to head for the George Washington Bridge, 46 is better than 80 at this point, and that'll be a good way to do it on both the east and westbound side of the roadway. Farther west on 80, we're looking at delays in Denville from exit 39 to 35. Parkway South was low 143, down towards 135, then the pace does pick up. Across the Hudson River, Lincoln Tunnel 20 minutes inbound, still under 5 minutes back to New Jersey. Outbound side of the Holland Tunnel 20 minutes, citybound side you're doing all right. And getting to the outbound GW Bridge, northbound West Side Highway still crawling right along. From the 70s on up to the George Washington Bridge, Riverside Drive a little better. FDR northbound from the 30s on up. And now you know how not to go. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. Have you ever had a legal question pertaining to elder law or estate law and wondered to yourself, what's the best course of action to take? Every Thursday during Kevin McCullough Radio at 5 o'clock on AM 970 The Answer, you'll hear Mike Connors of Connors & Sullivan Attorneys at Law answer a listener's actual question. If you have a legal question for Mike Connors, the Ask the Lawyer host, simply email the question to askmikeconnors@gmail.com or call the Legal Question of the Week phone line at 347-735-MIKE. That's 347-735-6453. And don't forget to tune in to Ask the Lawyer with Mike Connors every Saturday evening at 6 on AM 970 The Answer. Hi, Kevin McCullough of AM 970 The Answer. I hope that you're hearing our need for you to get involved in helping our fellow Americans in Puerto Rico. The worst hurricane in the nation's history, and they are still without power 49 days later. Todd Chapman from Food for the Poor, how can we help?
Desperation continues in Puerto Rico. Food for the Poor has delivered a sustained, ongoing response. Foods, water, medicines, hurricane relief supplies. It takes $5,000 to ship a shipping container with over $100,000 of these desperately needed supplies, and we're hoping that our listeners will be a part of doing that. Your gift of $250 will help speed this relief to Puerto Rico. So, friends, can you please be a part of this effort right now?
We only need 9 people to give a one-time gift of $250 or $20 a month for the next 12 months to complete our next container of supplies. Would you help us right now? Here's the phone number, 855-919-4673. That's 855-919-4673. 855-919-4673. Or give online at am970theanswer.com.
The IRS doesn't mess around. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts, too. Even threaten your home or business. If you owe back taxes, call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Don't delay. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-422-3838 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Milberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The #1 Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-422-3838. That's 800-422-3838. Employees of J.D. Milberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
Listen to us anywhere. TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio.com. Get the app at AM970theanswer.com. Breaking news as it happens. You're listening to Kevin McCullough Radio.
Right now, I'm definitely voting no. This is going to have a devastating impact on areas like mine in Long Island, and it's unfair.
That's Congressman Peter King, who I've never seen in the same room with a certain popular sports personality here in New York that sounds very much like him. Anyway, Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. Welcome to Kevin McCullough Radio. The tax bill seems to have people loving it or hating it, depending on which side of the discussion you're on. And now that the Senate has gotten involved, there are people like Congressman King that are saying, wait a second, what about those property deductions? What about the state tax deductions, et cetera? And I still don't think I talked to Kayleigh McEnany on Friday. Friday. I don't think this is much of a done deal as it seems to be. I think there's still some concern that we've got a little bit of a road to hoe here. But someone who has written about it is Dr. Gina Loudon. She joins us on Mondays to go over just such things. She is a contributor to the FoxNews.com website, and she also appears frequently on the Fox networks, both business and the mainstream news channel. Gene, it's good to have you. Your latest article, Senate tax bill throws swamp water on successful Trump economy. Is Congressman King out of line to say, hey, my constituents are going to be treated considerably harshly under this legislation if it passed? I mean, if that's what his constituents are really going to face, it's kind of his job to speak up for them, isn't it?
Well, I think that, everybody has to represent their constituents as best they can. But I do think that there are, especially some measures in the Senate bill that are particularly disturbing. I much prefer the House version, but, the senators don't like to be undermined. And as a wife of a former senator, I have to be careful how I say that. Sometimes I accidentally say former wife of a senator, and that doesn't sound as good. As the wife of a former state senator, I have to tell you that I sort of know this game, and I fear, Kevin, that the Senate version could cause a lot of problems. There are a lot of little hidden things in there. The Senate is going to be more swampy because it is the Senate, right? And so in my piece at FoxNews.com, I tried to describe some scenarios where I think they not only could be setting the president up for some talking points against him should they decide to primary him. But I also think that there are some things in this that make it a little less than reform as far as I can tell. 7 tax brackets, that's not simplified. There's a measure in there that reduces the deductibility of real estate from 39 years down to 25. That could cause problems in the market like we saw back in the 1980s where there was a bubble in the real estate market, very dangerous. They could use all of this to say, oh, look, the president is doing favors for his rich friends, which is not the president's intention. So I'm very concerned about the Senate version of this bill. I hope that they'll opt for the House measures.
Well, let's talk about several of your concerns there. Did I hear you say in case they decide to primary the president?
Well, you never know, Kevin. You know that the swamp would love to get rid of this president as he is draining them faster than they can count. And so there's no question about that. I think that, there is opposition out there from him. People who have lived a really cushy life for a really long period of time based on the mechanism of the swamp, they want to keep it that way. And this president not only is destroying the establishment swamp within the Beltway bubble, but also destroying so much of the media's credibility all at once.
Sure.
So he does have a lot of enemies.
Well, and that's certainly the case. Although this morning, you wake up and Drudge has this big headline, approval rating up to 46%. I mean, and it seems like every time he does one of these overseas trips, his popularity goes way up because I think that our people like the way he handles himself when he is in these overseas circumstances. People don't really draw much attention to. And this is really telling, Gina. The press doesn't want to draw attention to just how good his speeches are, and how much respect he commands when he goes international. But he does look like a leader amongst leaders when he's on these international trips.
Well, he is. No president in recent history has been prepared for the job of presiding in terms of negotiations, dealing with complex personalities and interactions, as this president has been prepared. And, you and I've talked about this many times. God equips those he calls. And in my personal opinion, that's exactly what we're witnessing here, is that he is called to this. And you just look at the strides this president has made, not just domestically with our economy and reductions and regulations and all of that, but you look at the strides he's made on the international scale. We went from a President Obama who bowed down to international leaders. We went from Hillary, who misspelled the reset button when she tried to make diplomatic overtures to Russia. And we see now a president who is not just pulling these people in and getting close enough to them that he can work those relationships for the betterment of the United States, but he can work those relationships for the betterment of the entire world, the way I see it. So I think it's very exciting.
Well, it's going to be, I still believe that they have to get a tax package done before the end of the year. I think if they don't, it's going to be a massive flood, a wipeout in 2018, because the main things that they've tried to take on as a Congress, be they very dysfunctional Congress, the health care plan and now tax reform, they still don't have a victory on it yet, and they've got to. I mean, the most we've had victory-wise is the president doing some of his executive actions on health care just for that stopgap measure, and I want to even see fewer of those be necessary in the days going forward. But if they don't get this tax plan done, Gina, the American people are going to say, you know what, you guys are all full of it. You've been telling us for 8 years that you're going to go there and you're going to make this simpler and something that's more fair. And because you're fighting about these things that, sometimes affect us by regions. And look, it's going to be hard. Peter King, if he doesn't get something to be addressed with state and local taxes and like mortgage interest for his state, if that's the Senate plan and it passes, he's going to be primaried. There will be not primaried. He'll have a very big bully club for his opponent to use to run against him. And that's not the kind of help we need right now.
You're exactly right. Everything you said is true. I'm not sure still that the swamp itself understands the perilous position they put themselves in if they don't deliver on the things that the president has requested for this tax bill. I really think they'll be in trouble because this is the voice of the American people speaking through the election of this.
Well, you know what's funny, Gina? Even without them getting this done, he has growth at 3% GDP. He has record low unemployment. I mean, just unrolling the regulations alone from the Obama era has proven to be far more successful than his opponents ever thought it could be. And it'll be exciting to see what happens. Anyway, Gina's piece, Senate tax bill throws swamp water on successful Trump economy, is on the front page of FoxNews.com. Go read it now. Gina, we'll be watching you on TV. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
What's the latest on our fellow Americans trapped in Puerto Rico? The outlook is not good. Todd Chapman stops by the studio with me next.
News, opinion, passion. This is AM 970. The Answer.
We have cloudy skies and 46 degrees on this Monday evening. What's going on? We have the answer. Well, the jury in the corruption trial of United States Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey is apparently deadlocked. Lisa G. brings us the very latest.
The judge in the case dismissed the jury early and said deliberations will continue tomorrow. U.S. District Judge William Walls told the jury, go home, have a good meal, a breath of fresh air, some good sleep, and try again. The day ended after a controversial start when 7 jurors admitted seeing news coverage of the dismissed juror who said she thought Menendez was not guilty. The New Jersey Democrat is accused of accepting bribes from a doctor in exchange for political favors. Lisa G., NBC News Radio, New Jersey.
Mayors from all over New York State gathered in Albany today to speak out against the GOP tax reform bill. Around 50 mayors came together to urge state representatives to vote against the bill, which they say is against the interest of local residents. The House of Representatives will vote on the measure this week. And speaking of which, Governor-elect Phil Murphy is speaking out against this proposed GOP tax plan as well. He, along with other New Jersey representatives, are condemning the bill. He says one major sticking point for Garden State residents is the end of home property tax breaks. Opponents say it would cost the average middle-class family thousands of dollars. In sports, the Knicks host LeBron James and the Cavaliers at the Garden tonight. Other professional teams have the night off. Taking a look at the traffic, I'll tell you what. It's been a long time since into the 5 o'clock hour on any weekday I've told you there's really not that much of a delay at the Lincoln Tunnel. Well, there's not much of a delay at the Lincoln Tunnel back to New Jersey. It's less than a 5-minute wait all the way around. Holland Tunnel's only about a 15 to 20-minute delay. And the George Washington Bridge, that is a pretty good ride. By the way, the inbound Lincoln's about a 15-minute backup. Partly cloudy skies tonight, low 36. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 48. Sunshine Wednesday, high 51. Partly sunny Thursday, high of 55 in the afternoon. And now you know what's going on. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Hi, this is Kevin McCullough. Join me at Nyack College's Manhattan campus on November the 15th for WMCA's Christian Networking Breakfast entitled Real Business, Real Faith. Join me as I moderate a panel discussion that explores how your Christian faith and testimony can be used in business. We have a fantastic lineup of panelists, including Mike Lindell from MyPillow, Al Miyashita from The Navigators, Mike Rakeman from Fellowship Home Loans, and Carrie Mobley Johnson from the County of Westchester's Office of Minority and Women in Business Enterprises. All attendees will be served a fantastic breakfast courtesy of DR Catering and receive a special gift from MyPillow. And you'll be entered to win a spectacular diamond ring valued at over $1,000 from Lord's Diamonds. Get your free tickets to the WMCA Networking Breakfast, Real Business, Real Faith, at am570themission.com. Come and explore how you can put your faith to work at work on November the 15th at WMCA's Networking Breakfast. Call 212-857-9632 for more information.
Loans are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
I was making great progress on building my savings, but then I get hit with an unexpected car repair bill.
Keeping a close eye on my credit score allowed me to buy my first house, but an unexpected medical emergency set me back.
When the unexpected happened, Avant was there to help. If you need to borrow $2,000 to $35,000, try Avant. It's fast, simple, and transparent.
Everything is done online. There are no prepayment fees, and no collateral is required. And you can instantly check your rate with no impact to your credit score.
Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. And now, Avant will give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your rates and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 5252 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 5252. Go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 5252.
Listen to Joe Piscopo in the morning, weekdays at 6. Mike Gallagher at 10 on AM 970. The Answer. What you need to know when you need it. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
Always fun to chat with that sassy Dr. Gina, isn't it? One thing she's never shy of, that's sharing her mind. Anyway, coming up yet on this Monday edition, Money Monday, David Fisher will be with us in the next segment. But I want to take a second out to tell you a little circumstance, a little story. I was driving home from a soccer game, final one of the season, and the firstborn, the heir, the namesake, got 11 kicks on the ball. And this is the most active game he had of the short 8-game season that he played. And when we were and he's 7.5, so he's reading everything now, right? It doesn't matter what it is. That's why you don't want to drive in certain parts of the city with your kids in the car, because he's reading everything. And we're getting closer to home. And I hadn't noticed this, but with the elections now done, all the yard signs have been pulled up. And there's these two houses. They're probably within a block of each other, but they both have little handmade white cardboard stapled to, like a stake in the ground kind of sign. And it just says in white background with big black letters, "Save Puerto Rico." And my James says to me, "Dad, what's going on in Puerto Rico? Why do they need saving?" And I said, "Well, do you remember the hurricane?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, we talked about that in school." He goes, "That was a long time ago, wasn't it?" I said, "Actually, it wasn't, buddy. It was only 7 weeks ago." He He said, what's going on? I said, everything wrong. So they still don't have electricity. They don't have electricity? How do they do this? How do they do that? But it spurred a really important conversation, and Todd Chapman is back with me. And Todd, sadly, and, you know, my little James, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He's just living life as an American. We've forgotten that Marie took place 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, you know, in the news cycle that we have here in the U.S. nowadays, even a week is a long time before we, you know, begin forgetting about things. And this is almost 2 months. But I got to tell you, the nightmare rages on in Puerto Rico. You still have 700,000 people without water, 2 million people without electricity, and no end in sight, no resolution.
Right.
Even though FEMA is, has deployed the largest disaster relief that they've ever deployed, still feeding over 1 million meals a day, giving out 1 million liters of water a day, and they can't meet all the need. And that's why it's so important that you join with what Food for the Poor is doing. We're actually partnering with 300 churches all across the island, and we are shipping in supplies into the ports. The churches, in turn, are sending vehicles and people to pick up those supplies, take them back to the churches, because the people, Kevin, are being drawn to the churches to get help and to,
Sure.
to get the things that they need. And so your gifts today will help us fill another container. This is over $100,000 worth of supplies in each of these containers, and we're just trying to fill up another couple of them here, and that'll mean 5 containers will have gone from the tri-state area there, listeners, to 970 The Answer and 570 The Mission. You guys have just been doing amazing things right now, but we want to get all of these containers finished up and shipped. And so what does that take from you? Well, it takes your best gift. We're suggesting maybe you could give $20 a month for the next 12 months, or if you just want to take care of it up front and get it all in so you can claim it on your taxes for this year. It is a tax-deductible gift, after all. Just give a gift of $250, and it only takes 20 of our Answer listeners to give that $250 gift, and boom, there's another $100,000 worth of desperately needed relief supplies on their way to Puerto Rico. It's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, those supplies are things that they can't get. Medicine, and we read last week about the rate of disease and death that has accelerated since the hurricane came through. But it's also things like, blankets and emergency bedding and bottled water and food and power generators and other
Diapers,
things.
Right.
Stuff you can't get. You just can't get. And there's no electricity, so there's no credit card system. You can't get access to your money to buy anything. And if you did, there's no stores that have anything. I mean, it's really, really a sad thing. But, Todd, I know that you saw the New York Times piece today talking about another crisis that's coming about, and it's this aggravated being without and being somewhat hopeless that is causing this additional crisis.
Yeah, you get a combination of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because these people have been through, I mean, literally, Kevin, they've been through a nightmare. They've had everything. They've had their entire life destroyed. And so, suicide rates are on the rise. People are really, really desperate, and they're getting hopeless. And so that's why it's so important that we reach out and we give these people hope, hope in the form of not only the material needs, but also, again, because Food for the Poor, we're a faith-based organization. And so we choose very decidedly to work with local pastors so that they can also help these people spiritually and psychologically and just give them some encouragement, that human element, not only just a meal and supplies, but also, hey, you know what, let me pray for you, or let me be there to be a listening ear. And, it really is sad, Kevin. Just reading this New York Times article was, it just broke my heart. These people are hurting, and we can make a difference.
Friends, we can make a difference, and here's how you do it. 855-919-4673. 855-919-4673. That's 855-919-HOPE. Our goal to help them continues. 855-919-HOPE. This is Kevin McCullough Radio.
Hey, this is Michael Riedel from On the Town here on AM 970 The Answer. One of my favorite American plays is Eugene O'Neill's masterpiece, The Iceman Cometh, and it's going to be starring one of our finest actors, Denzel Washington. He's coming to Broadway. He is a first-rate actor. You do not want to miss him in The Iceman Cometh. So to get tickets to see Denzel Washington in The Iceman Cometh, go to IcemanOnBroadway.com. That's IcemanOnBroadway.com. You will not want to miss Denzel Washington in this great, great American play. That's IcemanOnBroadway.com.
Do you know that there are 9 countries around the world that have already seized their citizens' assets to pay down their country's debt? or to support their banking system. This is called a bail-in. Would you like to know the laws that have been passed here in the U.S. to seize your wealth? Or would you like to know how to protect your hard-earned money? Do you know that there are certain markets in gold and silver that are exempt from such confiscation? Central banks and wise investors see challenges ahead for America to manage its $20 trillion debt. They have bought gold, causing it to move up almost as much as stocks on this calendar year. Call Landmark Capital today at 844-604-2575 and find out how. 844-604-2575. That's 844-604-2575. You can also find more information at landmarkgold.com. But find out the facts today at 844-604-2575.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I have been on these supplements from Balance of Nature for a couple of years now. And prior to that, I used other supplements. They did nothing for me. This has been absolutely wonderful. I have never felt so good, and I have felt so much better health-wise. My cholesterol's down. All my numbers are down, and it's been great. So I highly recommend Balance of Nature.
What are you waiting for? Good health is only a phone call away. Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Call 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code The Answer. That's promo code The Answer. Balance of Nature. Order today.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. Have you ever had a legal question pertaining to elder law or estate law and wondered to yourself, what's the best course of action to take? Every Thursday during Kevin McCullough Radio at 5 o'clock on AM 970 The Answer, you'll hear Mike Connors of Connors & Sullivan Attorneys at Law answer a listener's actual question. If you have a legal question for Mike Connors, the Ask the Lawyer host, simply email the question to askmikeconnors@gmail.com or call the Legal Question of the Week phone line at 347-735-MIKE. That's 347-735-6453. And don't forget to tune in to Ask the Lawyer with Mike Connors every Saturday evening at 6 on AM 970 The Answer.
Blue Star Medicated Ointment gets 5-star reviews from our loyal users for fast relief of the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
Blue Star soothes insect bites and fungal infections.
It really works on the summer rashes I get every year.
I had psoriasis on my elbows. Blue Star worked wonders.
Amazing stuff. Smear a bit on and the itch is gone.
Look for the white box with the blue star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
Proving that he may be ready for prime time. Frank Morano. Sunday mornings at 4 on AM 970. The Answer.
Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world. In the greatest city in the world.
If it's happening in New York or across the globe, learn why it matters first on Kevin McCullough Radio.
Got so much to get to because it is a Money Monday, and that means there's all kinds of new concerns to be dealt with in terms of the markets and what is happening there. David Fisher is the CEO of Landmark Capital and is with us on Mondays to chat about your money and what it means. David, it's good to have you back. Thanks for being here.
Me this afternoon, Kevin.
Last week, we saw the market kind of go on a sell-off, particularly by the end of the week. What was going on that brought that on?
Well, the rumors of GE came out, and also with the tax, the Senate looking at what the House passed for the tax deduction. But in reference to GE, the stock has dropped now 43% year-to-date, 8% down today. It's down to 2012 levels. They're slashing dividends from 24 cents down to 12, 50% reduction. They're trying to free up $6 to $7 billion in dollars. GE is trying to free up to stimulate their own stock buyback and also just to kind of get back on track. So that's one of the laggers, but not the biggest lagger. The other one is the House revamping what the Senate wanted to do with President Trump's tax bill, and that's kind of a mess, causing the drag on the market.
Yeah. Well, and you've got, world events that continue to kind of roll forward. including the passage of the tax bill, and there's a lot that's being said about that. One of the things that people are arguing about is the opposing points, or at least what appears to be opposing points, on IRAs and 401ks. What's your take about where things are at, what President Trump says, what the Congress says? Who's right?
Well, President Trump says we're not touching 401ks or IRAs, and I hope this, but the Senate and the House is the one that really depicts that. And the House is beating that thing up, opposing what President Trump is doing. In fact, they're opposing a lot of things that President Trump is doing. The SALT, which is the state and local tax, the deduction that's hitting really New York and New Jersey, about 7 blue states. But as far as the 401ks, the Senate wants to cut those as far as the contributions, what you call the makeup years, or the years that you can contribute a little bit more, when to call it catching up. So they want to take those away. They also want to hit 403s and 457s and simple IRAs in those areas, but not traditional IRAs, so they're leaving those left untouched. But the catch-ups for the 403 and 457 plans are going to be huge on people who earn over $500,000 a year. And one good thing I like that they're doing, though, and this is presented by Senator Orrin Hatch, the Senate Finance Committee chairman. One thing I like that what they're doing is on government programs, the 457 retirements, they're applying the 10% early withdrawal before age 59 and a half. They never had those attached to the government plans, but they have it to our plans, so they're trying to, I like that, they're making the playing field level.
Well, we believe that, right? I mean, because it doesn't matter who you are, you should be treated the same under the law, no matter where you're at or who you are. Last week we talked about what's going on in the bond market. I learned some stuff from our discussion on bonds last week, Dave, but this week you found some new news about the government bailing out pensions. What's going on there?
Well, there's another bill that's been presented by Senator Sherrod Brown out of Ohio, Democrat. He's introducing a plan that legislation would be the U.S. Treasury is going to fund or bail out insolvent pensions. And just a reminder, there's already a plan in place that the government created years ago called the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. That's the purpose of that. And in 2005, that entity, the PBGC, was underfunded by $23 million, and now last year, $76 billion. So it's a growing thing. And now they're wanting to not only fund private pensions through the forcing of them buying treasuries, and I said this was going to happen. Now we're starting to see a bill before Congress. This bill would also bail out the $76 billion. So, here we have the government not wanting us to fund our own retirement because the government overspent. Now the government wants to use taxpayer money to, because the market took away pensions, they want us to bail that out. So this is a big mess, and who knows if it's going to pass. But
well, that seems like two sides of the same sour coin. I mean, you've got so they're going to punish you, or at least not allow you to take the deductions for the 401k and the IRA contributions and the other ones that you mentioned, the 457s, et cetera. But simultaneously, they're asking for basically the permission to confiscate from us what they would need to bail out certain pension programs if they're registered with that pension entity or not. And that sounds awfully similar to what the bail-in is that you've been talking about for weeks on end.
It is exactly that, and it goes one step further. They're going to be forced to be buying treasuries, which yields 2.4%, and the pensions are averaging 6%, so they're already underwater, but they can take that treasury and now leverage it, which is what is a dividend or a derivative it is, and now they can leverage money, and the articles that are coming out saying it'll work great if the market goes up, but once it corrects, it's going to be a massive sell-off. It's going to be a massive implosion in the pensions. It's not going to work. So this is a big mess that our country, our Congress, the Senate is wanting to pass. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. We should bail it out through just growing the economy, which is what President Trump's plan is.
Yeah, well, Sherrod Brown's kind of, an A-list Looney Tune most of the time, in my opinion, on legislative things that he's put forward. But this, if this got any steam behind it at all, would really be detrimental to Americans. Well, here's what you need to do, friend. Above all else, David's here every Monday to help us understand some of these things, but you need to be educating yourself. And what I appreciate about David is that he's always armed with information that you can do just that with, like his newest newsletter, Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world. It's all about what China is doing, how they have not confiscated, but co-opted the market on oil and gold, creating a kind of a dually insured currency with their yen. And it goes into great detail about how this impacts us. He's also got the coming bail-in, and now it's in its 7th edition. And he'll make both of these available to you for free if you just call and ask for them. 844-604-2575. 844-604-2575. He's also got other literature, Changing Directions and Changing Times, and a detailed report on Dodd-Frank and how that could impact you as well. 844-604-2575, or get them online at landmarkgold.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
Stay away from Route 4 in New Jersey on the eastbound side especially. It is bumper to bumper from Route 17 in Paramus all the way across to Grand Avenue in Englewood. Right by Grand Avenue, there's an accident involving a flipped-over vehicle, and all lanes are subject to closure. It's not a great ride on 80 as an alternative. 46 is not perfect, but a little bit better for you, especially on that eastbound side. Now, westbound, we're getting reports of an accident just west of Jones Road, and that has delays right back to the George Washington Bridge. So if you're heading to or from the GW Bridge, Route 4, scratch it off the list for now. 46, again, by default, it's the best of the big major approaches in Bergen County. Not a bad ride here on the Parkway through Bergen County once you're south of 159. That actually opens up nicely down towards the Essex tolls and even down to 145 before things slow down again, 143 down towards 135. Across the Hudson River, right now the GW Bridge, not a bad ride into the city. Lincoln Tunnel 20 minutes in, 15 minutes out. Holland Tunnel 5 to 10 in, about 15 to 20 back to New Jersey. And now you know how not to go. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Tired of dealing with dummies? Experience the smart way to buy a car at Route 22 Toyota. No hidden fees, no back and forth, no pressure, and no wasting time with dummies. Alex Cancella, the general manager, prides himself on his low lease offers and 0% APR financing for up to 72 months for qualified buyers. And now my buddy Alex wants you to experience their new smart way to service. He's taking the same smart approach that's been so successful in selling cars into the service bay. So he said, Joe, I'm going to let you give the first 5 callers in the next 5 minutes a free multi-point inspection and oil change and filter if they call 855-621-9949 and say Joe sent me. 855-621-9949. In the next 5 minutes, get a free oil change and filter on me. 855-621-9949 and say this one's on Joe. Route 22 Toyota, Route 22 West in Hillside, New Jersey, or at Route22Toyota.com. Tell them Joe sent you for the free oil change. All European makes excluded.
As you walk up to the Barrow House in Clifton, New Jersey, you're transported back in time by the reconstructed 19th century farmhouse design, complete with beautiful reclaimed wood beams and flooring. If the weather permits, visit the outdoor porch area complete with quaint rocking chairs and flickering gas lanterns, hinting at a bygone era. Enjoy seasonal cocktails or a casual dinner under the stars. The Barrow House satisfies groups of all sizes, always keeping that intimate feel. Have a group dinner to plan? The Barrow House Root Cellar is a perfect stone-lined nook that showcases a carefully selected wine collection. If your group is larger, the traditional post and beam barn complete with retractable roof and belt-driven fans is the perfect setting. Whether it's the 18 craft beers on draft, the creative seasonal craft cocktails, or the scrumptious American farm fare, choose the Barrow House on Van Houten Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey. Visit thebarrowhouse.com. Return to a simpler time. The Barrow House. And when in Nutley, don't forget to visit Cowan's Public Art Deco Speakeasy.
Like AM 970, The Answer? Then don't forget to like us on Facebook. Interact with us. Share your thoughts about your favorite shows. Give feedback to our hosts. Share your opinion on hot topics. Learn about events and more. AM970theanswer.com. Jay Sekulow live is next on AM 970, The Answer. what you need to know when you need it. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
Well, so glad to have you with us, and thank you for joining us every single day, the same time, seeking to obliterate confusion, amplify truth, pursue clarity through reporting of the breaking news as it happens, what it means and why it matters. Okay, so this year's going to end so strange. And I'm not in any way making light of the serious circumstances that we have, be they in the financial markets or in Puerto Rico or even in the continuing drama in Washington, D.C., and, whose special counsel's investigating who, or even in the Roy Moore Senate race, which is, I don't even begin to know what to make of that now. But I do know one thing. If I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I wouldn't be going to the Powderhorn Mayday Cafe. Did you hear about this? The Powderhorn Mayday Cafe is a place where you couldn't always get, almond milk for your half-calf macchiato. They for many, many years did very different things. So there's probably a few places, though, that have done what the Powderhorn Mayday Cafe have done. Because when you're at the Powderhorn Mayday Cafe, there's a small sign taped to the counter that bears an odd request. It says this: the Mayday Cafe asks that you use gender-neutral language when addressing its employees. A similar note modeled after Maydays went up next to the cash register at the Taco Cat's Midtown Global Market stall last September. Please use gender-neutral language when addressing our staff. Now, the owners of these two restaurants have been asked why. So Tristan Jimerson says, I think gendered language is pretty integrated in restaurant culture. I've been working in restaurants for a long time, and sirring and ma'aming people, that's just how you're taught. For Jimerson, who in interviews asked potential hires for their preferred pronouns after asking their name, said it just makes sense to extend the same courtesy to customer interactions. Now, friends, I don't know exactly what even pronouns you use. Z, zem, zir, Q, you, hey there. Why do we have to go there? It makes it so hard when all I wanted is my cup of coffee. And I would gladly say to you, thank you. Have a good night.
News, opinion, passion. This is AM 970, The Answer.
We have cloudy skies and 46 degrees on this Monday evening. What's going on? We have the answer. 4 Jersey City police officers are being arraigned today on charges stemming from a high-speed chase and shooting. The car chase left an innocent bystander critically injured in a fiery crash on Tunnelly Avenue, with video showing officers kicking the man as he ripped off his burning clothes. U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer wants a top-to-bottom review of airport screening techniques after an undercover report found about 80% of weapons and explosives were not caught by TSA agents. Schumer said the information is especially alarming at a time when the threat of lone wolf terrorist threats are at an all-time high. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are using mass transit to get around the crowded streets of New York City. LeBron James and teammates hopped on the subway after a shoot-around at Madison Square Garden this morning. Instead of sitting in traffic to get to their hotel, the team got Metro cards and took the train. And now you know what's going on.